In this video, we're going to be working on attacking high short forehands. So this is the one that you want to be able to hit. You get in that good position, your opponent pops an easy one up, and you can step in and crush it. Unfortunately, that's easier said than done. So what I'm going to be doing is breaking down the crucial parts to it. The movement to the ball, the way that you approach the ball, the setup, the spacing, and then the swing path that you're going to need if you really want to develop this into a good shot. So hopefully you enjoyed the video and find it useful. If you do, it'd be awesome if you give me a thumbs up, and if you haven't subscribed to my channel before, it's always much appreciated when people subscribe. When you're hitting these high attacking short forehands, the first thing you need to understand is the spacing. One of the most common mistakes that players make is they get too close to the ball. Now, when the ball is lower and we're hitting from a neutral stance, we can actually be fairly close to the ball. The natural swing path, as we angle our body down towards it, there's not much distance there. But when the ball is higher, the natural swing path needs to be further away from our body. So if you set up too close to the ball, it's really going to throw the biomechanics off. Now, we're going to be hitting it from an open or semi-open stance, so you've got to take that into account. If I'm trying to make contact with the ball, this is a very reasonable distance widthways between me and the ball to then be able to hit through it. So that's the first part. The other place that this can go wrong is overrunning the ball. So now if I'm hitting the ball that way, timing is obviously critical on every single shot in tennis, but when we're being more aggressive, it's even more important. So what I absolutely don't want to do is hit the ball late. And often players make the mistake, the ball's coming this way, I'm moving that way, so players overrun it, and then they basically get jammed on their shot and it messes everything up. So we need to make sure we set up with enough space between us this way, and we need to make sure that we allow enough distance between us and the ball lengthways so that then we can accelerate and use the appropriate open stance footwork into the ball. Next thing we need to look at is our movement to the ball. Obviously, we've talked about the spacing. You have to have that in mind when you're moving towards the ball. So it's going to start with early ball recognition. And that's where the first problem normally lies for players, because a lot of players' visual systems don't function well enough to allow them to quickly read where the ball's going. And that means they're either kind of slow to react, and that creates problems, or they can't accurately predict where the ball's going. So even when you explain how far they should be away from the ball, the visual system isn't capable of making those adjustments. And it really prevents players from developing the sort of attacking high forehand that they want. So the good news is you can actually train your visual system and improve your visual function, and you can improve all of the different visual skills you need in tennis. To help you get started with that side of things, I've created a free program. So if you would like to start training and improving your vision so you can react faster and track the ball better and all that good stuff, there'll be a link up there and there'll be a link down in the description so that you can grab hold of this free program. Because what we want to cover now is the movement to the ball. And we know the spacing, but what's going to be really crucial is how we start to shape up for our shots and get set in the open or semi-open stance, ready to hit the ball. So we know the end product, we know what that needs to look like, but the key is going to be transitioning from back here, doing our unit turn as we move, and then getting our feet loaded and set up so we're loaded into this right hip, our outside hip, so then we can use the appropriate footwork pattern into the ball. So the piece that you're going to need is, as I'm moving to the ball, I start to do a crossover with my right leg, or my right leg crosses in front as my upper body rotates. So I'm moving forwards, as my upper body rotates, my right leg crosses over, and this does most of the work for me. My left leg then comes through, and now I'm in the position that I want to be in. From here, I'm now going to do adjustment steps to set up in position. So depending how much distance you've got to cover, it's going to be a case of stepping across and then into there. So the first part is the rotation as you step across. So I'm doing my unit turn, and I'm now doing this funny crab-like side shuffle where I kind of go sideways, but keeping my feet open enough so that when I've got the spacing, I can go to there, always making sure that on that last step, so whatever happens, I'm in here, I take the last step, I load into this right leg, and then go from there. And it's just something you have to practice and get used to. So if the ball's out there, I'm going to be stepping across and then going into there. Or maybe I've got to kind of get out of the way of the ball, so I need to arc my run. I still step across and then go into there. It just looks a little bit different. Now my initial step is over there, but I'm still stepping across as I open up. And now, because I'm moving in this direction, my side step was different. So over here, I'm kind of going like that. But now, because I'm going over in that direction, my side step looks a little bit different, but the end result is I still go there, so I can accelerate into my shot, or I should say, so I can drive my back leg forwards to initiate the shot. So that is going to be the next crucial piece of the puzzle, the preparation and the movement to the ball. Okay, and then we get to the actual footwork through contact and the swing path, and hopefully you've already kind of seen roughly what that looks like. I'm going to be loading from an open or semi-open stance, so some variation of this is very much going to depend on what you prefer and kind of the exact position of the ball. Obviously we've got the spacing, but then I'm loading and driving up and through this right hip. So when we're hitting a forehand, we're always initiating the forward swing from this back or outside hip, and it's going to be exactly the same here. So I load into this leg, I drive my hip forwards to start the swing, and then I hit through like so. But as I do that, you'll see that my back leg kicks up as a counterbalance. So it's load, back leg kicks up as a counterbalance. So you'll transition in, and the back leg will kick up. And again, what you might have seen there is I didn't load and go all the way down. You generally don't need to do that. It's more of a quick loading and then hit through the ball. The other thing you want to pay attention to is the swing path. So I'm finishing down there somewhere, or sometimes down there if the ball's up a little bit higher. This isn't the sort of shot that we're going to be getting topspin on. We're getting up into the ball, we're hitting down, and we're hitting through the ball. And they're just things that you kind of have to practice. Again, do shadow swings without the ball. What does it feel like to hit through it? Get used to it, and then once you've got the basic feeling for it, obviously you've got to start to introduce the ball. And the timing is very challenging. Being aggressive and hitting flat through the ball off this type of shot, it's one of the most difficult types of ball that you can deal with. But the good news is this one's actually quite easy to practice. This is a very easy shot that you can practice on your own with a ball basket. Now, for some shots, it's a little trickier because the hard part is that the ball is moving towards you. On this, we want the ball out in front, so we can just pop it up and just practice the swing path. So just loading up and just kind of hitting through it, just get the load and just practice them. And the way that you want to look at it is, unless you can do this drop feeding yourself, it's going to be really interesting bounce. It's going to be really unlikely that you can do it with the ball moving towards you. So just spend a little bit of time drop feeding and working on things that way. But these are the kind of the pieces that you need to get in order to develop that good high attacking forehand. It always starts with quickly reading where the ball's going. So the vision program will be up there and down there, because honestly it really does hold so many players back. Then it's good footwork and movement, setting up the right distance from the ball in both directions, then using the open stance and just getting the repetitions, developing an understanding of the feeling, working on these drop feeds. Once you can do that, then it's going to be a lot more realistic than you can do it in a match. But honestly, if you can't do it drop feeding yourself, you won't be able to do it in a match situation. So it's such a simple way to practice it. Okay, hopefully you found this video to be helpful. A few different things to work on. If you enjoyed the video, give me that thumbs up. If you've got comments about this video, I would love you to leave them down below, and I will catch you next time.